We'll complete our work on limits with two more examples. Here's one category of limit where we've got x approaching a. And here we've got one where x approaches infinity. So if we look at limit as x approaches -1 of x squared plus x over x squared minus 2x minus 3. If we go to substitute in, we'll get 0 on the bottom there. So we're going to have to go back to some sort of algebraic simplification. So the limit as x approaches -1. And what we need to do here is to somehow algebraically try and factorise. Now, you should also, whenever you're trying to factorise, always look for a common factor first, and you can see that a factor of x is common to both x squared and x. So we'll go x outside of x plus 1. So we've factorised the top, or the numerator. Now the denominator, using our cross method. Factors of x squared are x and x. Factors of 3 that differ by 2 are 3 and 1. So we go 3 and 1. We know that when we multiply 3 times 1 we get 3, but when we multiply these two together we've got to get a negative. So one of these has to be a negative, one has to be a positive. And don't forget we multiply along the arms and add those two together to get the middle term. So we want to end up with a negative 2x when we add. So that'll give us, if we put the negative there, that'll give us negative 3x, and then multiply along that arm we get positive 1x. So we'll just check that. So negative 3 times positive 1 gives us negative 3, so that's correct. And when we multiply along there we get plus 1x. When we multiply along there we get negative 3x. You always add the two terms together and hopefully that'll give us the middle term. And indeed it does, negative 2x, so that is correct. So our factors are x minus 3 and x plus 1. So x minus 3 and x plus 1. Okay, we've got some things here we can cancel down, that and that. We cannot cancel that x with that x. That x is connected with a minus to the 3, so it has to be connected by multiplication if we're going to cancel down. That x connected to that bracket by multiplication, that's multiplication there. That's why we can cancel those two down. We can't cancel that x and that. So we've got x approaches -1, and we can see now that if we put -1 in for x, we're not going to get 0 top and bottom, so it'll be -1. Once we do the substitution, we don't write limit anymore, over -1 minus 3. So that'll be -1 over -4. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so we just get 1 over 4. Okay, second one, the limit as x approaches infinity of x to the 4x to the 4th, blah, 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 blah. So if we had x to the power of 3 common, we would take it out. So we don't have a highest power of x that is common here. So the highest power here is a 3, the highest power here is a 4. So now we've got to take out the highest common, or the highest power overall. So this will be x to the power of 4. And if we do that to the top, we've got to do that to the bottom. All right, and here we go. What do we get when we take out x to the 4th to the top? So we get 4 minus 1 over x squared plus 5 over x cubed. All looking good. Here, when we take x to the 4th out the front, we will have 1 over x. And then here, when we take x to the power of 4 out the front, we'll get 3 over x to the power of 4. All looking good, so we've got the limit as x approaches infinity. The x to the 4ths will cancel, and it'll be 4 minus 1 on x squared plus 5 over x cubed. This line's probably not necessary, but I'll put it in just for this example. Minus 3 over x to the 4th equals. Now x approaches, and now we can do the substitution. So that'll be 4 minus 0 plus 0 over, 1 over infinity is 0, 3 over is also 0. So we get 4 over 0, which is undefined. Therefore, no limit. Divisibility by 0, undefined. Okay, so that should get you started and get you through all the limits that you have to do for this course.